baseball hut. We're dealing with a very frustrating baseball team in the New York Mets and a very frustrated shortstop in Francisco Lindor. Now, before we get into this video, of course, please subscribe to the baseball hut as I scratch my brain trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with this team. Now, I've been sort of critiquing this team over the last month, basically unleashing the Kraken onto this ball club. Kraken that I have not really done much with over the first 2 years of this channel. But I'll be very honest with you on the team. This offense is very frustrating to watch. Now, they were really good most of last year until we got to September, and then it was a struggle. And they played like that so far this year. Now, the problem, and there's a couple problems here, the Mets have given up 80 home runs. And they've played, 50-something games? 59 games? And they've given up 80 home runs, and they've only hit about 68 home runs. So 68 homes versus 80 home runs. And they've given up the most. That's the most home runs in the National League, as far as I know. And they've given up the most walks in the National League. The fact that they are 500 tells you what kind of manager Buck Showalter is. Now, I would mention this rather quickly. He's done a good job here, but on Saturday he should have walked Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I don't know why he didn't walk him. Pitch to Biggio. He's not Craig Biggio Jr. He's Kevin Biggio. No offense if his kid's watching, but you're not your father. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is his own man as a player. And they should have pitched. I mean, that's a really, I gotta say, the Blue Jays have a very good team. They can hit. That's a big deal. When you can hit, you got a shot. Now they went 3-3 on the homestand. They didn't do much hitting against the Phillies, but they swept the Phillies. The Phillies right now are just sort of doing what the Phillies do. They sort of scramble for the first half, and then they get it together in the second half, and that's going to happen again this year. I also noticed that the Braves have been a little inconsistent of late, the 9-13 in the last 22 games, so they're not running away with it. But the Mets consistently are bad offensively. On Saturday, they were 0 for 11 with men in scoring position. How can you be 0 and 11? Mets do that. That's the most frustrating thing about being a Mets fan is watching this offense, or a lack of it, that takes place during a season. And it's really situational hitting. Some of the most basic things to do: move the runners over, hit the ball in the air when you have a runner on a third and less than 2 outs. These simple things, and they won a lot of games like that last year, just doing the little things well. And they've not done that really since September of last year. Now, September was last year. We're into this year. And sort of the same stuff is going on. Now, glaring problems with specific players. Now, I've really gone after Daniel Vogelbach. I can't blame him for Friday. And he's the only one who got a hit on Saturday that drove in a run. Him getting that double, the way he's been hitting, is like a squirrel getting a blind squirrel getting a nut at this point. But the most glaring player on this team is Francisco Lindor. During the homestand, he went 2 for 22. No extra base hits. 13 strikeouts. In the series against the Blue Jays, he had 8 strikeouts. And he had 3 strikeouts on Sunday, and he looked extremely frustrated. I was digging into his numbers right before this video started. He is now currently hitting .213. His OPS is .683. 700 to 720 is considered average as a player. And as you know, OPS is on-base percentage and slugging percentage. His on-base percentage prior to coming into the game on Sunday was .284. His slugging percentage coming into the game was .404, something like that. His OPS plus 100 is considered average by a major league player. It is 90 now. So the positive, he is hurting the Mets offensively currently. I had said a month ago that the best thing for the Met lineup to be is for Lindor to bat in the middle of this lineup, bat him fifth, bat him sixth. It'll give Pete Alonso protection in the lineup. They have not done that. They have been batting him second and third and getting him more at bats than probably at this point that he deserves. This is a meritocracy. He should not be getting more at bats. He should be getting fewer at bats. I felt coming into Sunday that the Mets and Buck Showalter should have given him the day off, because you can see that the frustration is building. It's at a boiling point. And the best thing that could have happened for Francisco and the Mets is to give him a day off. You would have had to been, a little bit hamstruck with whoever was going to be at shortstop. Either be Jeff McNeil or Eduardo Escobar. But he needed a day off today. And as you know, tomorrow the Mets have a day off. So he would have had 2 days off to clear his head. You could have brought him in late in the game as a defensive replacement or as a pinch hitter at some point. But the Bucks should have sat him today just to clear his head. What's going to happen with him is going to determine a lot of what's going to happen during this season. So the Mets are going to have to figure out how to get into his head, because his head is so screwed up and it's getting worse. If you go on Baseball Reference, I did a video on him a few weeks ago. His average numbers as a player are all down. I'm not talking about the home runs, the RBIs. He had a big year last year with the RBI totals. He broke a Met record at shortstop. I'm talking about the OPS is down, the OPS plus is down, the slugging percentage is down, the average is down, his on-base percentage is down. Since he's been a Met, and his numbers this year are way, way below his average. So it's really been a real struggle here now. This year in particular, this is even worse than the first year. Now there are some people, and I was not I hate to bring it up, I was not a big fan of the trade, because I thought that, considering all the shortstops that were going to be a free agent after that season of 2021 and of course 2022, I thought the Mets were in too much of a hurry to make that deal. Trade prospects, trade young players for him, and then we're very quick to give him that long-term deal without knowing how he could handle playing here and what kind of player we were getting here. So I'm sort of, have a different attitude about him as a player, just based on his numbers. But prior to him coming to the Mets, and now that I've seen him every day, he is a great defensive shortstop. That is without a doubt. He should get the Gold Glove at shortstop this year. That's how good he's been this year, defensively. But offensively, he's not an elite player anymore. When he was with the Indians, and they were the Indians, and they weren't the Guardians yet, he played for the Indians. When he was with the Indians, he was an elite player offensively and defensively. The offensive side of his game with the Mets has been very average. And I'm not talking about the double. And I would mention, he has 10 home runs, but he only has 4 doubles. His numbers are very strange, because he's produced in spots, but he'll have like a big game, and then like for 10 days he doesn't do anything. So his numbers are beefed up. The RBIs get beefed up in a big game, but then he doesn't do anything for a week and a half. And that's been the problem with him this year. Last year he was much more consistent until September, and I know the numbers didn't feel like he was getting any big hits in a big spot in September. But the numbers kind of, are a little odd. But I never felt that he was getting big hits. And he didn't have a great series against the Padres. And he didn't have a good series against the Braves. But I don't want to bash a player endlessly. I know that I did that with Vogelback. Until he gets moved, I'm going to, keep going at it. But and people like it. But this thing with Lindor has reached that boiling point. He was getting booed mercilessly in this game, and he knows he's getting booed, and he knows he's not doing what he's supposed to do. The Mets are paying him a lot of money. They're paying him money for a player that is an elite player. He is not an elite player right now. And really, for the 3 years that he's been here, he's not been an elite player. Now, people are going to say, got to give him a chance. He's been here 3 years, okay? The first year was a big adjustment for him. He had a good second year, but now he's slipped back. And the frustration level now is at it's up to here now. It's up to the boiling point. And I feel bad for him at one point, but he's got to grind it out. But I felt that, and he needs a day off. Buck's got to figure out when to give him a day off. Maybe give him a day off in Pittsburgh, but he should have had today off. He should have had Sunday off. There was no reason for him to be playing a Sunday, knowing the Mets had a day off tomorrow and they were going to Atlanta. They should have just given him off and just taken their chance with whoever they were going to put at shortstop. That's the one problem about not having Guillorme here, is that if you wanted to give Lindor a day off, you're kind of hamstrung in that moment. But I don't mind that Guillorme's not here. He didn't hit well at all this year. So, but I kind of look around, like I'm looking around, and I'm trying to find the answers for all of us. And I don't know what's happened to Lindor as a player. I don't know if the bat speed has slowed down just a touch to where he's not the elite player that he was in Cleveland. I don't know what the problem is. I didn't see him on a regular basis, obviously, in Cleveland. So I don't have the reference point other than when he went up against the Yankees, and I know he kills the Yankees. So I don't have that reference point of how he was every day as a player at the plate. Now, currently, he has struck out once every game that he's played. He's on pace to strike out over 160 times. That is insane. For a guy that's supposed to bat third in your lineup, and he's striking out 160 times, that's very troublesome. And he shouldn't be batting third for two reasons. I'll say it again. One, if he's going to be a guy that's going to drive runs in, and that's kind of what he is right now, bat him lower in the lineup, bat him behind Pete, bat him fifth. You can always move these guys to second and third, McNeil, Canna, Alvarez, even Beatty. You kind of maneuver these guys around a little bit. Marte back at second. Marte should should put him back at second, I think. And McNeil third. I think Marte is getting to that point now. You could bat him higher in the lineup because he's gotten himself righted. I was very happy to see his numbers on Sunday. That he was hit 251. The OPS is a little under 700, but it's gotten much better. He was in, excuse me, he was in the 500s for a long time, and he hit a home run on Sunday. So he's starting to drive the ball again. So that's good news. But the inconsistency of this lineup is inconsistent because you have a player that is expected to do a lot, and right now he's producing nothing. And that's in Lindor. So the best thing to do is bat him low in the lineup, take a little responsibility off of him. In that, he'll get less at-bats, less opportunities for at-bats. And hopefully he gets his head righted and comes out of it. They did that with Starlin Marte. They can do it with Lindor. This is about winning a World Series, about winning games. It's not about anybody's feelings. And really, I don't care about the players' feelings at this point. As a Met fan watching teams struggle to score runs, that is the most annoying BS that I've been dealing with as a Mets fan. I could deal with a lot of things. And I was thinking about this before. I've been a Mets fan a long time. I can only remember one team that hit really great, and their pitching was bad with the Mets, and that was the 96 Mets. 96 Mets had no pitching, and they lost 90 games, but they were fun to watch because they scored runs. And that's the only team I can remember that was a bad team that could hit. Most teams with the Mets always have some kind of average pitching, and their lineup sucks. The situational hitting sucks. And this is another situation. We have another Mets team where the situational hitting sucks, and they have to start juggling this lineup around a little more radically than Buck has. I thought batting Alvarez was a good step. I would mention this as well. Alvarez and Beatty have taken a bit of a step back. The pitching, the National League has made an adjustment to them. They're going to be fine, but This thing with Lindor is a big problem. And until he gets right, you cannot have him batting more than he should. Give him time, bat him low in the lineup to where it's a little less pressure, and the pressure's getting to him. Give the guy a break. But give him a day off, bat him low in the lineup, give him a little less responsibility to where, and that baseball finds you. We all know that. So if you want a guy if you don't want a guy coming up and he's struggling, that guy will be up in the biggest spot in the game. Well, you let me know what you think about this video. These are my rants. I don't yell and scream. I don't act like a fool like that Frank Fleming. Well, he's got a lot of problems. And there's nobody here I'm not associated with the team. I'm not associated with any corporation. I tell it like it is. I see. If you ask me in a video, in a live stream, the live streams will be coming back very, very soon, probably this week maybe. You ask me what I think about a player, and I will give you my honest assessment about the player. And some people don't like that. I understand. But I'll shoot it straight with you. And I'll listen. I'll listen to what people have to say. I would mention this. I don't really care for the insults to Vogelback's appearance. I will block that shit. I'm just telling you right now, and I will take the comment down, which I've done. I've not mentioned anything about how he looks or anything, just that his facially looks like Chris Farley. Other than that, I haven't said anything really bad about him. I liked Chris Farley. He was funny. He was a one-trick pony, his pratfalls. But, again, I want to thank you for watching the live stream. Thank you for watching the Baseball Hut. Please subscribe. Thank you, and I'll see you later.